Welcome everyone to 1 Million Cups Daytona Beach. My name is Chris Steffen. I am one of the volunteer organizers, and I'm joined by a bunch of other organizers. Organizers, please raise your hands. Round of applause for the organizers. Right now, in about 122 cities across the country, our 1 Million Cups meetings taking place. So we are part of a larger group founded by the Kaufman Foundation. Average attendance is?
Average attendance here?
Around the country.
Average attendance is in the between 35 to 40 or so.
35 to 40, we're closer to 48. So we're doing really well here at Daytona Beach. How many first-time visitors do we have here? All right, speaker. Okay, so the speaker is our visitor, and his name is Ralph Brown, and he is the founder of, is it PRA or Cup Royale?
It's actually PRA Holdings, which holds Cup Royale and Team USA.
So it's powerboat racing around the world. Very cool stuff. Ralph is the actual holder of many Guinness Book World Records. He's going to talk about that today. So without further ado, a round of applause for Ralph.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I can remember how to use this thing. I'm going to talk to you for just a few minutes about Cup Royale. That means, in a nutshell, you've heard of Battle Royale? It means an extreme battle. Well, this is the extreme race. The most extreme race in the world. Not only is it the most extreme race in the world, but it's also the largest eco race. It's all about environmentalism, which a lot of people go, huh? Powerboating? It's about environmentalism? Give me a minute. I'll tell you more about it. So anyways, it's the most extreme race the world has ever known. And so, in honor of John Harvey, George Holmes, and Dewey Johnson, I'll tell you who they are in just a few minutes, but they I thought they died in my place, and I want to make sure they're never forgotten. Today I'm going to try to convince you that I'm Ralph Brown, that I'm the guy to make this happen. It's going to happen. If it's not me, it'll be somebody else. This is just the most logical thing you've ever seen. So it's going to happen, and it's going to be worth billions of dollars, sooner or later. So I believe I'm the guy that can make it happen. It's not what I can do by myself. It's what I can do with the help of others that matters. And in the last 2 months, we've been messing with this for about 10 years. And May 25th, we started the holding company, PRA Holdings. And in the last 2 months, just an incredible amount of things have happened. We've gotten one of the best CFOs in the world that you can just believe, you get involved in it. We've got national, international studios jumped on board, and they went out and signed a whole bunch. I'll tell you about those in just a second. But just a lot of things have happened in the last 2 months. And I believe I'm the guy that can make it happen. Now, if I'm the guy that can make it happen, then my early stage investors are going to get rich. Very rich. And so I'm hoping I can convince a few of you to become early stage investors. There's risk involved, obviously. You could lose it all. But if I'm the guy, and I believe I am the guy, then you're going to make a lot of money. You can invest as small as $5,000 or up to $250,000 to get our original preferred shares, which is an incredible deal. I come out of the financial services industry. I was a financial planner for many, many years. One of the things I used to teach people was that if you get super successful with one stock, take your principal back out and keep that safe and diversify that and put it somewhere else. So that way, if that super successful stock collapses, you got your principal back and you diversify it and you put it somewhere else. And so our original preferred shares are designed to do exactly that. Give you your money back with a profit and still have an opportunity to make a lot of money. Or if you want to be a partner, you can come in for $3 million up to $9 million. And we're actually talking to countries that are considering that. And so this is a pretty cool deal. He's going to sign up right now. He's got his credit card out. Okay, you're not wasting any time. I already have a couple of world records, as was mentioned. My brother and I crossed the Atlantic Ocean in the smallest powerboat that's ever crossed the Atlantic Ocean. This is us leaving Veston Island. It's an island on the south side of Iceland. And we were driving into the remnants of Hurricane Bill. And you can see outside how much, this is less than a foot of water between the side and here. The boat's a special boat that I designed. It's incredibly hard to tip over, and it will never sink, no matter what happens to it. So we drove it from Tampa, Florida, all the way to Germany. And you can see we started that. Let me see if I can figure out the button on this thing. Okay? This is the button. Ah, there we go. We started in Tampa, and we drove up the coastline, all the way up to Greenland, Iceland, the Faroes, the Shetlands, the Orkneys, and down into Germany. We started at MacDill, which is the Southern Command Center for the military, and we ended up at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, the hospital in Germany. So this is us in New York Harbor. This is us in London Harbor. This is the first iceberg we saw. Now, we're Florida boys. We'd never seen icebergs. So we spent 5 hours taking a picture. I was like, where's the following boat that followed you? There was no boat following us. My brother Bob took that picture from a surfboard. So what do Florida boys do when they see icebergs? We go wait for them. We didn't know anything about it. We've never seen them before. We were 5 hours late getting to the next island we were supposed to arrive at because we thought we could spend 5 hours taking pictures. And my brother Bob spent most of the time in that water. He's wearing a wetsuit, but his ankles were in the cold water. The next day, he swears up and down, this was not from being in that water so long. But the next day, his feet swelled up. Great big swell. And so, I told Bob, if you keep your feet in ice water for hours. No. Couldn't do this. Okay, it can't do that. This is me in one of my boats, standing on a sandbar. I'm in 1 inch of water. I want to repeat that. I'm in 1 inch of water. You didn't catch that. I'm in 1 inch of water. So I spent years developing a boat that can run in 1 inch of water in the same seaworthy enough to cross the Atlantic Ocean. So I know you want to buy one now. We'll get you a deal later, okay? Anyways, we ended up getting news all over the world, NBC, CBS, Fox. The piece that went around the world was in London, and if you were to buy the advertising, that would cost you at least $50 million. Because I got phone calls from Australia. I got phone calls from China. From China. Chinese Yacht Magazine called me up and said, "Want to do an interview?" I said, "Sure, I'll do an interview. Send me a copy." So there's a 4-page article in here with really colored pictures. It's written in hieroglyphics, Chinese letters and stuff. But I thought that's the coolest thing. I mean, to get a 4-page article written on us in Germany was okay because we did the interview face to face. But to get a 4-page article in China, that was pretty cool. But we ended up getting news all over the world. And so, and I think that's really important for you to understand what that's going to do for us as we develop Cup Royale. Anybody ever heard of NASCAR before? I know I'm in Daytona. Okay? It's a gigantic advertising machine, and they make billions selling advertising. NBC and Fox pay them $820 million a year just for the right to put this on television. Can you guys see over my head there? Am I blocking the screen? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure everybody can see all right. Companies pay $20 million to put their name on the side of a car. In some cases, more than $35 million just for that. Wow. Why would they do that? Because 300 million people watch NASCAR on television. That's not 300 million at one time. That's a cumulative for the whole season. Approximately 300 million people watch NASCAR. Now, the biggest event is right here in Daytona. You all know that. Somewhere between 11 million and 16 million people watch it. The rest of the races are much smaller. But you add them all up, it's about 300 million. But it's 300 million Americans. That's a big audience, isn't it? That's worth billions. Somebody told me, I've done a lot of research to figure out what NASCAR is worth, because I like to compare what we're doing to NASCAR, because everybody in America has heard of NASCAR. I get figures anywhere from 3 billion to about 15 billion at what it's worth. So that's a lot of money. And it's really a gigantic advertising machine. 1.7 billion watch the Volvo Ocean Race. 2.4 million show up to watch it in person. Let me get you a comparison. That 2.4, divide that by 11, and that's the average attendance per event. That's about 220,000. The stadium here holds about 110,000. To give you an idea of the comparison. 1.7 billion. In case you didn't catch that, I'll read it one more time. 1.7 billion worldwide watch the Volvo Ocean Race. That's the same size as 5 entire NASCAR seasons. Or 15 Super Bowls stacked on top of each other. Would you agree that's a pretty big advertising audience? Would anybody disagree with that? Pretty big advertising audience. That's our goal. Okay? So what is the Volvo Ocean Race? It's a sailboat race around the world. They start in Valencia, Spain. By the way, they bring in $89 million in economic impact. Excuse me, 89 million euros in economic impact to Valencia, Spain. You guys are familiar with how much economic impact the Daytona 500 brings in. It brings in a lot. Okay? 89 million, that's 110 million US dollars at the time that this was. It stops in 11 countries along the way. There's a boat show in every country. Again, 2.4 million come out to see this. There's a short race in each country, and then they race to the next country. They keep points, and there's a winner. So again, 1.7 billion watch it on television, and 2.4 million show up. So what we're doing is we're creating a powerboat version of the Volvo Ocean Race. First and only powerboat race around the world that's never been done. Stops in 15 countries around the world. There's a boat show in each country. There's a race in every country, just like the Volvo Ocean Race. Then there's a race to the next country. Only one team per country is allowed. This is really, really important. America's Cup in 1988 was begging for sponsors. Begging. It was the New York Yacht Club versus the London Yacht Club versus the Australian Yacht Club. Who cares? They changed the rules. One team per country. And you're now the national team. You're not Team New York Yacht Club. You are now Team USA. You are not Team London Yacht Club. You are now Team Britannia. You're not the Australian, whatever it was, Yacht Club. You are Team Australia. Now the sponsorship is over $100 million per boat, per season. That's huge. Huge, because they changed it to make it a national team. These teams is actually a franchise. You can't go to Tampa Bay and start an NFL team, can you? You've got to buy out the Buccaneers. You can't go to Jacksonville and start an NFL team. You've got to buy out the Jaguars. It's a franchise. And each team will be a franchise. The first person to pay the entrance fee is going to own the franchise. Per country. Some people think this is all about voting. I think it's a gigantic advertising machine. This is what a boat looks like from the top. It's not finished being built. But it's 64 feet long, it's 24 feet wide, and you can put 4 school buses underneath it. So it's a pretty good sized boat. This is a side view. This is Richard Branson, built a boat similar. This is what he used to go after the world record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to try to get him to race us in this boat. We're going to beat the pants off him. It won't be even close. This is the world famous Addie Gill. Most of you guys have seen this. It got ran over by a Japanese whaling ship. It used to be known as Earth Race and was piloted by a guy from New Zealand named Pete Bethune. Pete Bethune sold it to Addie Gill. I chased down Addie Gill, tried to get him to invest in this. He's an animal rights fanatic. He wanted to know if even his dog, he feeds his dog vegetables. I was really surprised. I met the guy, got in his house. He's the guy behind Hollywood cameras. If you've ever seen anything produced in Hollywood, you've seen something produced on most of his cameras. And he puts together all these award shows, etc. And so he's really a big shot in Hollywood. But he actually took the time to talk to me and invite me over to his house, which I was amazed. And I'll tell you, that time I'll tell you about chasing it down. But he said that basically if I was a vegetarian, he would finance the whole deal. I love steak. Bad as I want him to finance this, I just couldn't give up my steak and my fish. Okay? But some of our current sponsors are Gert USA, Sirtex USA, Lenco Marine Actuators, Albert Marine Paints, Dreamboats Global. At this point in time, we've got about $750,000 worth of supplies and money invested in our boat already. Some of the key company partners is On Track and Canto. These guys provide digital stuff for all over the world that put cameras on the boat, make a reality TV show out of this thing. Some other companies. Nashville, we signed about right after May 25th. I got a hold of the guy that leads National International Studios. I talked to him about this thing, and he said it took him about 2 seconds to realize this was a gigantic television and advertising opportunity. So he called up Blue Skies Entertainment. You've all seen Blue Skies Entertainment on stuff. The people that run Blue Skies used to produce NASCAR, just to give you an idea. They jumped on board. They went out and got Revolution Pictures, and they jumped on board, and then they went out and got Sailors Brothers, which if you go through the stuff that you've seen on television, you've seen their work. And then Fasano, Jeff Asano. They went and got Jeff Asano. These are A-class television people. And they said, we'll bring you the money. But how fast can you bring us money? Well, that takes a little bit of time. So I'm not going to sit around and wait for them. But they just jumped all over this. They said, listen, you realize that 10 years ago, cricket did not exist in India, professional cricket. Today, it's bigger than our NBA. To give you an idea how fast things grow with today's technology, it just grows incredibly fast. We believe that if I'm the right guy to lead this, I hope I am. I hope I'm the right guy to get the right people to help me. This can become a super success, and we hope we grow very quickly. Let's talk about sponsors for just a minute. This is Red Bull. They spend $120 million a year sponsoring. $120 million. When I saw these figures, what? You got to be kidding. Just to sponsor their Formula One team. Guess what? They're not even the largest sponsor. There's teams that spend $300 million sponsoring Formula One. Wow. Oracle, over $100 million for the America's Cup. Y'all have heard of the America's Cup, right?
Yeah.
Over $100 million a team. It's insane. Again, NASCAR, you guys all know it's 20 million plus. Cup Royale. Our sponsorship is going to start off around 5 million, and then we believe we'll be over 20 million within a couple of years. This is going to be an annual event. 10%, I want to make sure you understand this. Cup Royale, our Pro Holdings, consists of two companies. Cup Royale, that's the league, only the league itself. And then on the other side is Team USA. Okay, 10% of all of our sponsorship for Team USA will go to veterans groups or children's charities. By the way, it's just not right that little girls die for medicine that we find so readily available in this country. It's not right that a lot of the things go wrong with kids. And so we want to try to be a voice for some of the right things that need to be taken care of. This is myself. I'm not going to tell you all my stuff, but I've been involved with this for a little bit of time. You can read this later. Okay? My other life's goal is to make enough money to finance the Children's Hospital. I've been married to the same woman for 27 years. She has not shot me yet. And she went out and got a gun. She actually got a couple of them. You don't worry about that. But she didn't shot me yet. We have 3 kids. And this is our CFO, Stephen Rosen. Anybody ever here at Home Depot? Very instrumental in the early stages of Home Depot. Anybody ever heard here of Citibank? Citibank owns a company called Transamerica. You ever heard of Transamerica? Transamerica owns a huge insurance conglomerate named Primerica. Okay? Used to be their CFO. All right? He handles money, special projects for Arthur Blank, the guy that owns the Atlanta Falcons and founders of Home Depot. He handles Clint Eastwood's money. He handles a lot of people's money. One of my friends introduced me to him. He agreed that he would be my CFO. I about fell out. I mean, I couldn't believe I'm getting that level of guy. He's incredible. He could probably write a check for all the money we need. And he probably won't until we raise a certain amount of money. But once we raise a certain amount of money, he said he'd be on board. I thought that was pretty cool. Our sponsorship agent, Victoria Davis, she owns a company called Fan Vision Media, and she comes out of NASCAR. And her job is to bring sponsorship to the table. We got Bruce Shulman. He's an MIT graduate. This guy's been a project manager for a lot of other things. He was my project manager for crossing the Atlantic Ocean. He just did an incredible job. My team, I've got Martin Southhoff, who's an engineer. He's been in racing boats for a long time and been building boats for a long, long time. Construction advisor, Richard John, he makes these tourist boats. You go see 800 tourists on a little sailboat floating around the Caribbean. He builds those boats. We've got glider yachts in Italy, and then we've got our media representative, David Maley. Anybody ever seen a flex day? You know those things on the interstate that you run over and they pop down and pop back up? David Maley was the lead man on flex day. Okay, they got the whole country to take it. IT's his son Matthew. We got Sparky Edwards, Black Hawk Security. He used to run the U.S. Army Security. So we got some really cool people helping us. Chad Baylor with 40 years in the Coast Guard and safety. Bob Brown, he came with me for setting 4 world records. Chris Brown has got 35 years experience as the ship's captain. And I put a little ad in a paper. I got 165 resumes. Boom. The people that want to jump on board and be part of our team. So I think it's exciting. We got Harry Lay. He built most of the Walmarts in North America. Then in the 1980s, Got Phil Esposito, George Kaufman, and Bruce Strong. Part of my team. 4 phases to making this thing happen. First thing we got to get is finish building our boat. I'll show you some pictures of that in just a second there. Okay, the boat's going to be worth, on the low end, $2.5–3 million. On the high end, $5 to $6 million. For what we're talking about that, we're getting it for $1.3 million. Pretty good deal. I know the guy that's building it. I shave him every day. Okay, and so there's a tremendous amount of risk mitigation that goes into the purchase price of a big boat, and we can cut all that out. And so, anyways, but it's costing us $1.3 million. The phase 2 is we're going to break the current world record for circumnavigation. Now, the Addie Gill, that boat I showed you minutes ago, owns the record right now, and it's 61 days. Now, sailboat record for going around the world is 40 days. And most people, when you first say that, give me the same dumb look that you have on your face right now. How is it possible that our boats go around the world in 61 days and a sailboat goes around the world in 40 days? It's really simple. Fuel. When you're carrying 100,000 pounds of fuel, that's a big difference. Or 200,000, you figure all of it combined. And the sailboat carries how many pounds of fuel? None. And so the sailboat, the boat may weigh 10,000 pounds, and you've got to carry around an equivalent of 100,000 to 200,000 pounds of fuel. It's a big difference. Now, that figure is going to change. I know a guy that's planning to change that. Me. I'm going to beat the current hour record, and I'm going to beat, Lord willing, we're going to beat the sailboat record too. I've done the 10 years of testing, and I've done all of this. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that we're going to beat that record as well. And so that's going to be, I call that the Sputnik event. And then we're going on a tour, we're going worldwide to invite and challenge every other team to come out. So we're going to go to London and call out Richard Branson's name publicly. Now, I want to point out something. Most of you have never set the world record. Am I mistaken on that? And I don't mean, I'm not trying to brag on it, but I'm just saying is, when you show up in the middle of setting a world record, you can show up at midnight. Or in our case, it's 3 o'clock in the morning when we arrive in Holland. At 9 o'clock the following morning, the newspapers are waking you up. And they want you to go back out so they can film you coming back in. It came at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're doing this, we just started, it happened everywhere we go. And so we're going to do a Sputnik event. Well, then we're going on this challenge tour. And we expect the same kind of publicity that we got before. And we're going to go out and challenge every country involved with the team. And we know places, we know who the big shots in a lot of these countries are. We're going to call them out by name on television, on their national television, and ask them to come out and race us. Hopefully they'll come up with the money for a franchise. And then phase 4 is the actual race around the world. On phase 1, all our model testing is done. All our molds are built, the hard stuff done. We just see some pictures here. Again, it's 68 feet long, 24 feet wide. You can put 4 school buses underneath it, just to give you an idea. We have inexpensive buildings.
Slow down a little bit, I'm sorry. Could you go back to the...
Sure, I'm just kind of not spending a lot of time on these pictures, but...
What's going on there?
Okay, this is what's called the mold.
Yeah.
Okay, first you build a plug. A plug is a life-size wooden product that you're not going to use for anything else but making a mold. Okay. So what we're doing right here is we're pulling the plug out and turning the mold over. That's what we're doing. Okay. But just to keep simple pictures here.
That's a single mold for one of the 2 hulls?
One of the 2 sponsors, yes.
Thank you.
Okay? And I used to show a ton of pictures. Everybody said you show too many pictures. So this is a simple thing there. United. Now, the second part of that phase is we're going to break that world record. Now, how many of y'all know what this is? Over here? On the right. Oh, left. What is that? Sputnik. Okay, what's this? I grew up 60 miles south of here, a place called Cocoa Beach. You've probably heard of it. And when that thing took off, we were in our backyard. We watched that thing take off. It was like broad daylight in our house, in our yard. But I don't believe this would have happened anywhere near when it did happen. That's the Apollo 11 taking off. Okay, and Apollo 11 was a night shot. I think it was 13 was broad daylight. Was it 12 that was a night shot? And 9 that were night shots? I think so, whatever they were. But what happened is, in the 1950s, the whole world was talking about outer space. We talked and talked and talked about it until the Soviets actually put Sputnik up. When they put Sputnik up, the United States went, whoa! The Russians can't beat us. And they did beat us in the outer space. We dumped billions of dollars into it. And President Kennedy got up and said we're going to the moon. We dumped hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into it. And so what caused it was what I call the Sputnik event. So we're going to go around the world and break these world records. That's going to be the Sputnik event. And then we're going to have the race. Just like the NBA, the NFL, NASCAR, we're going to have annual seasons of races every year. We expect within 5 years, 1/4 of the world's countries to participate. And if we're successful at that, this is going to be a huge media and advertising opportunity. If we accomplish our goals, I believe our television audience will be much bigger than 300 million. What's NASCAR worth? We accomplish our goals, we'll have a television audience much bigger than theirs on a worldwide scale. So sources of revenue will be media rights, sponsorship, manufacturing of boats, memorabilia, other ways to make money. And then we're Cup Royale, part of Prop Holdings. We actually formed Prop Holdings May 25th this year. And again, Prop Holdings has got 2 parts to it, Team USA, and it's got the actual race itself. Questions?
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.